Hello YouTube, this is Collector Fees, and so I'm back in Floating Sandbox, and my reason for this is actually to show off a ship which I built. I've already shown her off actually, in fact, this is, by the way, all just stuff that I've been messing around with. So yeah, I've already shown this ship off, not this version of her, this is the interior version, but this version right here, obviously I've shown off, and yeah, you know, it's, what I basically showed off was just the story for her. So, you know, I just, I had some settings loaded which meant that the sea was a lot deeper and there was kind of a shoreline over here, and I realized you can't even see my cursor. One sec. Just give me a minute. I can fix that. I can fix this. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. I had some just land over here, and I had just a very, very, very deep sea through the rest of it, and I just kind of showcased the ship kind of pulling away from the port and sailing, and then she got hit with a torpedo and sank by the stern, and that was basically her story. Let me get back to the interior version of her. So you can see this right here. This was a pain to model, as I'm sure you can probably imagine. What I did is basically I had the exterior, I traced around it because I forgot that I can actually just copy and paste images to another file. Obviously I did that for the structural layer. So yeah, this thing's structure is actually different than the exterior model, which was a bit of a pain to do. I'll show you actually. So this one, obviously I dived her about there. I'll show you how I actually did the torpedo earlier. I'm sure some of you know how I did it because it's really the only way you can kind of imitate a torpedo in this game right now. And that was something to figure out, because I knew I wanted her to be torpedoed. I just kind of had to figure out how. But yeah, this is kind of how she sank, just kind of down by the stern, up by the bow. One thing I should mention actually is I have changed this from what it was when I did the original animation, because, well, animation, you know, just video, story mode, whatever you want to call it, just because I accidentally traced over the wrong file when making the watertight compartments inside the interior model, and it's way easier to change that in the structural file than it is to go through a half-done interior texture file and change all the watertight compartment layouts. So the layout's a little bit different now. She should sink. Yeah, she's sinking in much the same way as those of you who watched the video will most likely notice. But you know, this game you can do. Got some grenades, some bombs, just put those on the ship and load them up. Yeah, you know, you can just kind of mess around with it. This tool, mast is made out of wood, obviously, so you can burn it if it'll start fire. There we go. And the bridge is also made out of wood because at the time I couldn't find a better material to make it out of. So it's kind of, I think it's actually cardboard, which is interesting, but it worked at the time, so, you know. Back to the interior, because this is what I wanted to show off. This took a long time to get from the exterior model. What I did is I kind of traced around this portion of the ship. I can't remember if I actually did everything that I had on the model originally or not. I think I probably didn't. But yeah, as you can see, the boilers kind of conform to the watertight bulkheads. I can show you that actually. If I slice a hole in here, You can see the water conforms to the bulkheads. And yeah, you know, it's kind of it works. It's okay. So basically, my main goal when making this interior was just kind of to get an interior into the ship, not really trying to be accurate to anything really. And I realized way too late on that I did not have enough cabins in the ship. So you can kind of see I've just kind of thrown a lot of cabins in higgledy-piggledy. This area right here is meant to be sort of the first-class smoking room and the first-class lounge, sort of, if you will. Then you kind of have first-class cabins up here, second-class with green beds for some reason, third-class, which is as nice as first and second class. I didn't really differentiate between the cabins, except for the crew cabins, which you can see down here with lots and lots and lots of bunk beds, because crew cabins on these old ships were not very they weren't very luxurious at all. One thing you probably noticed is if I respawn the ship quick, I do have water in the pool, and that will drain out if I cut this open. I wasn't going to do that, but I realized that in the structural materials chart there's actually a water material, and so I just kind of thought it would be fun to put that in here. Also, this area changed from the outside of the ship. This was initially just going to kind of be a excuse me. It was initially just going to be kind of an like a raised roof section, but then I decided it worked way better as a dome, and it looks nicer anyway. Kind of the same thing happened with this section. This was meant to be a raised roof, but I did it way too tall, so it's an extra deck now, which honestly works really well. And you've obviously got the dome over the grand staircase, which... Okay, I was working in 2D, alright? It's kind of hard to pull off a grand staircase. I think I did an okay job of it. Obviously, you are free to have a different opinion, and I would love to hear what you think I could have done better on that. And who knows, if I hear it I might try it. But yeah, it's kind of... I was working with pretty big pixels, and I don't have a higher... Like, I can't do anything really higher res on my own. I would have to find a higher res image online for this game. So I kind of did what I was capable of, and it doesn't look awful. It could definitely be better. Oh, let me get rid of this. But, yeah. So... Oh yeah, and one thing I also did, because there is a diesel material now, so the boilers are indeed explosive if I hold this over for long enough, and kaplowy, there it goes. Kind of damages a lot of the ship, but this ship, you'll notice up here, kind of breaks the pool as well. You'll kind of want to use a strength setting of 1.5 or higher on her. She's really not designed to be very strong otherwise. The pool here, like all of her decks, all of her walls and everything is just made out of this wood material up here. So actually if I set fire here, this should catch and just kind of spread. Because all of her decks are wood, same with all of her walls. Yeah. And I debated doing metal, but I put some metal in the pool section and it actually kind of burnt the ship. So, well, not burnt, bent, rather, broke. So that didn't work, and let's put that out. But yeah, you know, it's just kind of it was kind of fun to do. It was also a pain, but it was definitely fun, and you can kind of see here the water's flooding into all the different rooms. I didn't break a hole into this one appropriately. That's kind of annoying. Oh wait, no, there is. Okay. Yeah, this section here and this section here obviously don't have any interior walls except for the watertight bulkheads. I do have a couple in the bow as well. Also, the smoke and the light up here are linked to the generators, well, generator, via a little cable that just kind of goes around all the lights. Because it didn't really work having the smoke on a different generator, and it also didn't work having the actually, I'll show you this. So, this also didn't work. If I page down really quick so that you can kind of see the lights. The upper deck lights up here are what I would have to connect it to because it's a serial circuit, not a parallel circuit. So, which means the lower deck lights have to be on in order to get the upper deck lights. If I turn the lower deck lights off, everything turns off. If I turn the upper deck lights off, just the upper deck lights turn off. And yeah, so what I did instead is I just have, I think my generator is about here, and I just kind of have a circuit that loops around here, going up into here. And on the exterior model, all of these lights, you can't really see them actually, all of these lights are connected to actual portholes. And this is it's kind of a promenade deck, although obviously I haven't really done that on this model because it's just kind of not really necessary. And it would kind of take away from the ship as a whole. Because, okay, so actually someone on the story video asked if I was considering doing an interior for this, and yes, I was. I had been for a little while then. In fact, I had started it at that time, but I didn't have much. All I had was like a copy of the structural layer and what I had traced of the original texture layer. But because of that comment, I decided to take it further, actually go with it, and yeah, this is the result, and you can kind of see the bridge up here. You can kind of see what I was going for on the original texture layer, if I pull that up quick. That didn't really work. You can see here the bridge. I was kind of intending to go for a sort of raised bridge with just a lower bridge wing here. You can kind of see the windows up here as well. I obviously, as you can tell from this window layout and this line here, I wasn't really intending for this to be a deck, but it ended up being way too tall not to be on the interior model, so yeah, you know. And then another thing, in here I got a third class open space. Basically a lot of what is in this ship is just there because I was running out of ideas for what to do and there wasn't enough room to really do anything else. Obviously this is the case of there not being enough room, but I've kind of figured I needed a third class open space, and there's sort of another one over here, although I'm not really sure what you could classify this as, because this is kind of above that. Like there's only 2 blocks in there and the rest of this entire deck is 4 blocks, so that's kind of more of a railing and you would be able to kind of lean over it, sort of like the well deck on Titanic actually. I should probably do a similar thing here. But yeah, you know, that's the basics of it. You can kind of see the uptake casings here, which would come up, connect to the boilers, take the steam out of the boilers, and go up through the funnels, and that's where you get the smoke from. Obviously the smoke wouldn't emit from the top of the funnel, it would be kind of going all the way up, but yeah, you know, in the game there's no collision between smoke and objects, so as you can see up here. But yeah, honestly I'm just trying to keep talking. It's I'm running out of things to say. Oh yes, this engine. So I was trying to get a similar engine to what was on Titanic, and it's kind of there. You can kind of see what I was going for. This would be a double expansion reciprocating steam engine, similar to what Titanic had, but Titanic had 2 triple expansion reciprocating steam engines, and the excess steam from them would go into the center propeller on her. My ship, she's a 2D model, but kind of what she's meant to have is 2 double expansion reciprocating steam engines powering 2 propellers. As you can see, there's not a cutout in the hull, so this is on the side of the ship, not in the middle. And yeah, I think that's really about it. Oh yes, and I intended to show you, this is how I did the torpedo damage on the hull. Just 3 grenades and bowie. Obviously the ship was a lot stronger than she is right here. It didn't actually do that much damage. It kind of would have ruined it if it had. So what I think I'll do is I will time-lapse this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. which will hopefully be soon. I know it's been a while since I've recorded anything like this. Sorry about that. I will try to do this more often, but I'm currently, this was my main project in Floating Sandbox. I do have a couple others that I'm working on. I'm also working on a model in Blender, so I can't really promise anything. If I get bored with those, though, then I will try to record some more videos, and hopefully they'll keep coming fairly quickly. But yeah, for now, I will just let you watch this sink, and that'll be that. Oh, is this still recording? Wait, that's not supposed to still be recording.